Another day, another chance, another way, another dance. Today I'm discussing to you all about, chapter 9. And in chapter 9, it's pretty much gonna be, we're talking about, refactoring, some of the work that I've been working on. Refactoring to MVC till now. I've been putting all our code into index.js, for example, all the requests handles, app.get, app post are in the same file. This is not the best approach when our app grows or if we are building a more complex app as index.js, as it becomes too complicated and unimaginable. And thus, we will refactor our code adhering to a common pattern called the Model View Controller or MVC pattern. That is, we divide our application into three interconnected parts: model, view, and controller. Model represents the structure of the data, the format and the constraints with which it is stored. In essence, it is the database part of the application. As you might already notice, we already have that in our models folder currently storing the blog post folder. A view is what is presented to the user. So views make use of the model and present data in the manner which the user wants. From the view, user can make changes to the data presented to them. In our app, the view consists of static or dynamic pages rendered to users. The pages are stored in a views folder showing various EJS files to render static and dynamic HTML websites. Last, we have controller, which controls the requests of the user and then generates appropriate responses rendered back to the user. That is, a user interacts with the view, which generates the appropriate request, which is handled by the controller, which then renders the appropriate view with the model data as response. So that's pretty much what I have to like. Yeah, so that's what you're pretty much doing. So you got our modules, blog post, and then we got our views, right? And then we gotta control this. So as you can see here, instead of using like our app get responses or app use responses, we're pretty much using MVC or models, views, and controllers instead. So we got these controllers get post home, new post, and store post. Because beforehand, we pretty much use our index.js to store everything that we had. As you can see here, we can't see our get responses for our posts or our views. As we're using the MVC method. So import Express framework, right? What we have here is a const express require express, right? And then you got import path module used for directory file paths. So you got that. Then you got import controller for creating new post page. Uh, Create express application instance. Import EJS template engine. A const EJS equals require EJS. Right, then set EJS as the view engine for rendering pages. Applet set view engine, comma EJS. So that's what you're dealing with. Serve static static file CSS images JS from the public folder, app.use express.static public, body parser middleware, to read form data, parse JSON bodies. So this just parses our JSON bodies that we've got here, our JSON packages. Then same thing here for your encoded form data, it just parses it. I'll actually need to explain to you what parse means. So I'll just explain to you. I'll just tell you what it means in Jiffy. Yeah. To parse, to analyze something by bringing it down into constituent parts to understand its structure, meaning, or syntax. You know what I mean? So custom middleware example runs for every request. So custom middleware parameters, content log, custom middleware called, so on and so forth. So it's pretty much the same as what we went over before. Our if next statement for middleware to validate post submission forms. I mean, pretty much the same as before. But what we need to get down to is our models, views, and controllers. So variable mongoose equals require mongoose. Const schema equals mongoose.schema. Then blog post schema equals new schema. Child body username, child string, body string, username string, date posted, type date, default new date, image string. So variable blog post equals mongoose.module, blog post schema, module that exports equals blog post. So I mean that's yeah. And then as you can see here, our get responses or the get response that you suppose you get index.js actually comes here. So get post. So you got a variable blog post equals require blog post. While also exports asynchronous parameters variable blog post, content log, blog post, register render, post, blog post, right? Then you got a home.js view, right? Then our new post.js, right? And then we got our store post.js, variable blog post equals require modules blog post, const path equals require path, modules.exports, parameters, so on and so forth. And that's, yeah, that's pretty much for our image. So store post is for our image, you know what I mean? And then you got post.js, right? So doc type HTML, then you got our bodies, then you got page headers, post content, and so on and so forth. So here we got our views. Right. Create that EJS, index that EJS, page headers, main content, so on and so forth. Footer header, navbar, and scripts. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we're dealing with the day. Right, I will use my unshades because I want to give my screen time to reload.
No problem.
So as you can see here, when we pretty much refactorized all our get responses into like the MVC order, even for our nav bar, we don't have as many uh, you don't have as many views on our nav bar as we had before. Because what happened was everything got repurposed into our MVC or models views and controllers of factor. So that's pretty much what happened. As you can see here, I debugged, my front end, my server side. It's pretty much showing you the CSS, JS, so on and so forth. I'm going to reshare my screen just now. I just need to reload my page, so I'm going to reshare it just now. Don't worry.
Okay.
Right, and then you got the status 304, then type document style sheet initiator, so on and so forth. So yeah, that's what we pretty much got. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So my server and so custom middleware called.
Mm.
So the major factor that actually represents this new change is our views. Before we had sample post, home, create, so on and so forth. Now we just have home and new post. That's all we got
Mm.
because the MVC. Anything that you want to see on your site navigator,
I'm good on my side, thanks.
no problem, no problem, man. Navigator, thank you very much for navigating this video. Till next time, take care, bless, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.